and that you're looking forward to the new year. You know, even though the Christmas day is over, Boxing Day has come and gone, the Christmas season is still with us. We have Old Year's Day, the Guyanese refer to Old Year's Day. The Americans say the New Year's Eve. Then we have New Year's Day. And then we have all that is before us in the new year. So I hope that you practice to be safe during that period, and they will continue to do so. Now, remember when I started last week, Wednesday, I indicated to you, as the program implies, that the name of the program implies, that it's speaking out, exposing corruption and incompetence. There is so much corruption and incompetence that I think it is important for people to know what is going on. And I will make sure that whatever I know is revealed so the public can have the information, and you make your decision. You be the judge. I am not going to be judgmental. I'm not judging anyone. I'm just letting you know who these people are, what they have done, and then you can draw your own conclusions from that. Now, today's program, I will tell you something about one of the main protagonists. I'm referring specifically to what is going on in the police force, what has gone on with some retired officers, what is going on with some serving officers. One of the main protagonists in this all is Senior Superintendent Calvin Brutus, and I'll tell you something about him during the course of today's program. Now, you know the program lasts for 1 hour. I am not sure that 1 hour will be sufficient given all that has to be said about this person. So if perchance the hour runs out, then we will continue, because I think you need to know who he is. He is currently working. He's a senior superintendent. He was brought there in August to work as the man in charge of administration, a post that is normally held by a deputy commissioner. And you're aware that he holds himself out as a deputy commissioner. The members of the government, including the Minister of Home Affairs, has been referring to him as a deputy commissioner. And just for your information, he's not. He's not a deputy commissioner, even though I understand that he's given pay either in the form of responsibility allowance or actual pay as a deputy commissioner. He still is not a deputy commissioner. And we would have seen recently where persons were named to be on the Police Service Commission. So I suspect that before long, once the process is gone through, then they will promote him to whatever rank they want to promote him, and that is up to them. But having said that, I think it is even more important for me to let you know who this person is. Now, Brutus has never, I can't recall Brutus working with me when I was a commander. I got to know him through interactions and functions that he missed. And I got to know him a little better when sometime he was referred to me by a retired senior officer. He had some problems with the administration of the force, and I got a call from a retired senior officer asking me to meet with him and to listen to him and to give him some advice. He made contact with me because the gentleman, the retired senior officer, wanted permission for him to give Brutus my number. And I said, go ahead. I have no problem with that. So he contacted me, and I arranged for us to meet. And you wouldn't believe this. The arrangement was him to meet at my residence. So he came there in uniform at my residence. I entertained him. He explained his issues, his problems, and I advised him how we should go about dealing with it. And it's all the problems related to the fact that he was writing what was considered some very rude letters to the police administration. I think the story started during 2018 when he was on annualized vacation leave and he was called out. He was at the time in charge of the police in C Division, that is on the East Coast. It was then known as C Division. I think it is now known as Regional Police Division C. Same place. So he was called out to manage the division during the local government. You know, they had local government election in 2018, so he was called out then to manage the elections. Now, once the elections were over and things settled down, he was then told that he can resume his vacation leave. Well, that is where the problem started. He refused to resume leave. His position was that he wanted to accumulate his leave so that he can go to the law school. I think he was doing law at the time, and he wanted to accumulate his leave so he can go to the law school. Now, the regulation on that is clear. You can dictate. So they had this exchange of letters and all of that. The Ministry of Home Affairs got involved. He was instructed by the Ministry of Home Affairs and the Police High Command that he must go on his leave, and he refused still to go on his leave. It got to the point where he then, having not gotten his way with the police administration and the Ministry of Home Affairs, he then wrote to a sitting member of parliament who was a minister of the government, and that is clearly a breach of the police disciplinary code. The code said that you cannot write or communicate internal matters to a member of parliament, and he did that. So that matter was reported and to be investigated. As I explained briefly last week, the Police Service Commission is tasked with the responsibility of promoting and disciplining officers, inspectors and officers up to the rank of assistant commissioner. So a report was made, and an investigation, well, even before the report was made, the commission at one of his meetings saw some of these letters that he was writing to the administration, very disrespectful in his language. So one of the letters I remember very, very well, he wrote to the police administration to tell them that he was of the opinion that they were deliberately trying to fail him by giving him incompetent and no good officers. That is what he wrote. He even mentioned names. I remember very well, he mentioned the name of Griffith, Senior Superintendent Dennis Griffith, who is now, I think, the commander in Region 2. He mentioned the name of Stanley, who is now at Soku, and he referred to them as incompetent and no good, and told the administration in writing that those people were no good, and they had given him those persons to work with an attempt to fail him. So when we saw those letters, the commission saw those letters, all the members, and we had a discussion on it, and it was the opinion of all the members that rather than seeking to discipline Brutus for this behavior, that we should call him and have a discussion and try to put him on the right path. So we did that. We officially invited him to the Police Service Commission, sat him down, and all the members of the commission took time to tell him that they don't think that is the right way. Every one of us spoke to him, advised him in a very professional and fatherly. The two ladies were there in a motherly manner as to how to go about. I remember asking him clearly if he himself typed the letters or the letter that was sent, and he responded in the negative. He said no. And then I said to him, I said, given the fact that confidentiality is such an issue in the police force, do you not think that the content of this letter will be leaked to the persons to whom you refer? I don't think he gave any answer. So you can't do that. I told him, I said to him that if you have officers who you feel are not competent, it is part of your role as a commander to train them. You're not going to get officers, all the people coming to you are excellent and without fault and are excellent policemen and all that. So you have to guide them, you have to mentor them, you have to train them. And we spoke to him, we spoke to him, and we told him we expect him to go and to reflect on what he has done and to make sure that he does the right thing. And he left. I think he thanked us for the opportunity, and he left. Lo and behold, shortly after that, the police administration had cast a report on this matter where he wrote to the minister, pointing out, first of all, he invoked ethnic relationship with the minister, and then he sought our intervention in the matter. So that was referred to the commission, as I said, because there is a clear breach. Now, in keeping with the Constitution, in keeping with the Police Discipline Act, officer senior to him was identified to conduct the investigation. Now, you may not know, but let me explain this to you, that once an investigation is done under the Police Discipline Act, Chapter 1701, it is mandated that, and I think in Section 5.3 of the Act says, that the person must be served with a breach of discipline notice. In other words, the person has to be informed of the allegation and give him a chance to refuse to make any written or oral statement unless he or she so desires. So that is what, without that, the investigation cannot proceed. At that time, Brutus was in Berbice as the commander of, I can't remember if it was B or Regional Division 6, if it had changed at that time. But he was in Berbice Station in the divisional headquarters in New Amsterdam. He refused to make himself available for the breach of discipline notice to be served on him so that the investigation can commence. He made excuse about preparation for the general elections. Then when the general elections were over, he made excuse about COVID protocols and him not being able to come to get the notice served on him. The notice was eventually served on him in August of 2020. And let me tell you how that came about. I said August, it should be September of 2020. How that came about. I think many of you would know, I indicated earlier that I had a meeting with the President, Irfan Ali, on the 16th of September 2020. And the President raised the issue of promotion, specifically named Brutus, Karimbash, and some others. I indicated to him that Brutus and others had pending disciplinary matters. And unless those matters are ordered and determined, then the rule is that those persons cannot be considered for promotion. That was on the 16th of September when I explained that to the President. Shortly thereafter, I believe it's the next day or so, the records are there. You know, I continue to say, when I speak, the records are there. You can, those people who have inquiring minds, people like the journalists and those researchers can go and check. The very next day or soon after, he made himself available for the notice, the breach of discipline notice to be served on him. I don't think that that was a coincidence. I am of the view that having communicated with the President that a person who has pending disciplinary matters cannot be considered for promotion, I believe that was communicated to him either directly or through some third party, and he turned up then for the notice to be served on him. So that investigation then commenced. Now, at the conclusion of the investigation, a report was submitted to the Police Service Commission, as is required, and then the Police Service Commission appointed the tribunal to inquire into disciplinary. It says rule of law is a process to be gone through. Nobody's arbitrary and decide, well, look, you're guilty. No, we gave him an opportunity to prove his innocence. Now, he then moved, that happened sometime around, by then the process was around December. He then caused a lawyer that he has, Mr. Satram, to write to the police commission. The letters are there again, the records are there, threatening. He said that he understands that there's a matter pending against Brutus, and that no promotion should be determined, no promotion should be made unless that matter is completed. And then this is the threat. He said that if the promotions were made and the matter against Brutus was not completed, he will take steps to nullify the whole process. So that was on the 17th of December, and that is before the commission even met to consider promotion, because as I had indicated before, the commission met on the 23rd of December. But this is a letter to the Police Service Commission from his attorney on the 17th, dated the 17th of December, threatening to nullify the promotion if promotions were made. But we were not threatened. We were not cowed. We went ahead with the process, and we know what happened on the 31st of December. Again, they moved to the court because that was the day when the promotions were to be released, finalized and released. He moved to the court and sought to, well, basically have an injunction against the promotion, which was granted. The Chief Justice ordered that the status quo in the force should be remained. So you have a case where this man moved to the court for the promotions to be withheld before the promotions are made. Before, he wrote on the 17th and then he moved on the 31st, right? And interestingly, I'm sure you'll find this very interesting. Part of the argument he used in the matter, in his filings in the court, is that there was an unusual or delay in the whole process to deal with the disciplinary matter. Imagine this is the man who caused this matter to be delayed by not making himself available. And then he goes to the court and argues that the matter was delayed, unnecessarily delayed. And this is, in my view, this is not only unprofessionalism, this is dishonesty. He did, that is what he did, right? And you would note that he also said in an affidavit that the promotion shortlist, which was created on the 23rd of December, was leaked to him by a confidential source at the Police Service Commission. Another act of dishonesty. You don't have to question that. If you have a confidential document and the document is leaked to him, as he claims, there's a whole dishonest practice. So those are some of the things. But I have many more to tell you about him. Now, one of the most egregious acts, in my view, has to do with how he dealt with the late Senior Superintendent Charmin Strode. You know, this lady was the lady in charge of the police military band, getting all those accolades from all over of the fantastic work that she was doing with the band. Now, she was due to retire on November 1st, 2020. And as is the practice now in many cases, especially in a case like that, a specialist area, she wrote to the administration of the force asking for her service to be extended. That went through administration of the force, Brutus signed, went to the Ministry of Home Affairs, and they recommended it. It came to the commission, but there's an issue with extension in that by that time, she would have collected an advance on her gratuity. And the ministry's position for ever long, previous cases, that once you collect an advance on your gratuity, it's difficult to then have you extended unless you pay back that advance. I think you get 2/3 up front. And she was then advised, look, why ask for extension? The best thing to do is to retire and then ask to be reemployed, because that was done on many occasions. People retire, they get the gratuity, they get the pension, and then if you in a specialist area, as she was, then you ask to be reemployed. And so she asked to be reemployed, and we at the commission agreed that she should be reemployed. So the thing went through to the police administration. And then Brutus wrote to the Ministry of Home Affairs saying that basically that she's not competent, and that she should be made to retire. And there are people at the band room who were capable of taking over from her. And then this is the worrying part. Then he recommended that if she wants to come back in the force, then the administration of the force would agree to take her back in the rural constabulary. Listen to this, let me repeat. The administration of the force will be willing to take back her, a retired senior superintendent of police, in the rural constabulary with the rank of sergeant. That is what he wrote to the ministry. And the ministry get to the stage where they rubber stamp everything. So they said the same thing true to the Police Service Commission. We had the meeting said, no, this is unfair. How can you? And in the meanwhile, let me say this. While all this is going on, in December last year, there is this virtual carol singing that she organized and she is directing at the Christmas breakfast. She's there wearing the rank of senior superintendent in uniform, wearing the rank of senior superintendent, interacting with the administration. The president was at thing. And at that time, they had already written to the Home Affairs Ministry to say that she should not be back in the regular force. If she wants, she should come back as a sergeant in the Rural Constabulary and continue to get her to work. So she continued to work on another sense, because when November came, 1st of November, and she officially retired on that day, she continued in the uniform, continued to work. The ministry, by which time, had indicated that, look, they were no longer in agreement that she should not come back into the regular force. And the commission said, well, that is always our position, so you just have to now write formally to say that you're changing your position and that you were willing to have her back in the regular force. And I think we would agree to that. So that never came true. No, that never came true. And we know she died shortly thereafter. Between November 1st, when she retired, and the time that she died, she did not receive a blind cent from the police force. And she was cautioned about that. She was told that you got your letter to retire on the 1st of November. So therefore, when that time comes, you will stop getting all your pay and whatever benefits you are. And that is exactly what happened. So that woman died, grieved, and died working for the band room and the police force. And that is the treatment she got when it came to or being reemployed in the police force. I think you need to know these things, because you see these people walk around and they are demonic. They go about doing all manner of things. Vindictiveness. And let me give you another case. You will, and there are several, as indicated, there are several cases. I suspect, if you look at the time now, is that the hour that we have is not going to be sufficient. And maybe in the next episode, I will continue. You know of his involvement, you know of Brutus's involvement in the illegal election of the police association. I mean, we've seen why now. We now see why, and we knew all along that that was the plan, to have a police association installed, because the police association is one of the main bodies to recommend to the parliamentary subcommittee or whatever committee it is, the names of persons to sit on the police service commission. So we knew from the time Brutus illegally and unlawfully ended the term of the previous commission, which was due to end in March of 2022, he decided that he's going to have his own election. He did. When the commissioner directed that the police association should hold their meeting on a particular day, he preempted that, because I think the meeting was to be held in the afternoon, 1 o'clock or sometime then. He preempted that, hold his own meeting with no authority. There's absolutely no authority for him to even be involved in the process. You can check the standing order. I think Mr. Conway had laid it out, spells out clearly what the process should be, and they didn't bother with that. He went ahead, he held a meeting on the morning and installed Prem Narayan as the chairman of the police association. The lawful body then held their meeting the afternoon and returned Inspector Ford and others to office. Now, here is the problem with that, apart from what I have mentioned before. The lawful body decided to get retired deputy superintendent, I think it was Richard M. Tage. Now, Richard M. Tage used to be at the finance all the time. He was reemployed after he retired at 55 to be the manager of the police officers' mess, to do all the books and all of that. He was there. Very decent, competent person. You can't mess with him when it comes to finances and that type of thing. He knows the regulations, perhaps more than anyone who's there now. And the police association, the one that held the meeting in the afternoon, as a legal, lawful body, invited Richard M. Tage to be the returning officer for that election. So he went there as a returning officer. When Brutus learned of that, Brutus called him to his office, threatened to have him charged criminally because he then discovered that MTage had passed 60. He retired at 55. He continued to work and was paid past the age of 60. Normally, if you're in the special constabulary, when you're 60, you retire, and that should be the end. But MTage was working past 60, and he called MTage. He threatened to have Soku charge him that he was collecting money under false pretenses and is a fraud and all that. And he did that and immediately sent home MTage. MTage was immediately sent packing. And it is interesting to note that there are others in the force right now who pass long past the age of 60. Perhaps they were even older than MTage and continue to work in the special constabulary. And he did not do anything. He has not done anything to those to that particular person and those persons, but he targeted MTage solely because MTage was the returning officer for the Police Association election. Vindictive, very, very vindictive person. Then you have more vindictiveness. You recall the case with Senior Superintendent Fazil Karimbash, who made inappropriate advances to trainees at the TSU and the TSU Square. They were trainees in the police college. They were there for some function, and he made inappropriate advances to them with your report. And by the way, I have a whole program dedicated to Karimbash, but this is just to let you know how this part that I'm about to tell you about came out. So it was widely publicized. We know investigation was held. It was recommended that he should be charged departmentally. Some people felt that he should have been charged criminally. So he too, when the notice and the disciplinary charge was served on him, he moved to the High Court, complaining that the process was not lawful, and he challenged the matter. His challenge was thrown out because the court held that the Police Service Commission followed the law, followed the Constitution. It was thrown out. He has appealed that matter. The appeal is still pending. Now, there were two female ranks who made the complaint against Karimbash. I was horrified to find out that one of the ranks went on maternity leave. And on our return, this is what horrified me, and on our return, Brutus transferred her to an interior location. This is a young mother. I think the maternity leave is 3 months or so. So she would have been resuming as we would say in Guyana, contribute a water baby. She got a little infant, about just 3 months or so. And he is transferring her to the interior. He is transferring her to one of those, as we say, those bush locations. I think some opposition was made, and eventually good sense prevailed, and the transfer was cancelled. But that's to show you how vindictive and wicked this person is. Here you have a young yet lactating mother. You're transferring her to the interior. So what happened to that infant child? What happened to the baby? Doesn't care about that. All he wants to show that he has the power. He can wield the power, and he can get back at you if you were to run afoul of him. And that is part of the issue with the matter facing myself, Mr. Conway, and other people. He try to get back, and that is the vindictive nature of this person. Another matter. Let me bring another matter to you. You I think again you would have known of the matter with Pastor Dulechan. Pastor Dulechan is a force chaplain, the police force chaplain. And this year, at the opening of the police officers conference, he prayed for the Guyana police force. Yesterday he put up the prayer. So you can look on the same page, you will see the prayer. He prayed for the end of racism in the force, for the end of corruption, for the end of unprofessionalism, and he prayed for the force. Brutus took offense to that, and arbitrarily the same day fired the force chaplain. He has no authority to do that, but this is a man who believes he has the power to do anything that he wants to do, and in many cases he's not challenged. So he went ahead and he fired Dulechan. made big news. If the fire made big news in the newspaper and social media, and then the president intervened. I'm not sure the president should have, whether he has the authority to intervene in a matter like that, but he did intervene, and he said that he was there and he heard the prayer and he did not see anything wrong with it. At which stage the commissioner of police acting or carrying out the functions up, he said he was not aware that Dulachen had been fired, and the order to fire Dulachen was reversed. And then you would know too, if you're following the news, and the records are there, man. Do the Google and check out the thing. Dulachen, Pastor Dulachen, very decent man. I know him from long. Very quiet, very decent. He was, apparently he won a contract to supply printer ink or toner or something like that to the police force. And as part of this whole spike process, they suddenly said they're going to hold up. The man is not going to be paid for items that he supplied because they were claiming the items perhaps did not meet the specification. I'm not even sure if the gentleman has been paid until now. I am not sure if the gentleman has been paid. That is wicked, vindictive spitefulness. Then the other case, when I learned of this, I had a good laugh. That's a show again how this man is vindictive. You have a superintendent of the police, a female superintendent who was in a division breakdown, and she got a message, as we would say, that Brutus wanted to see her in connection with some matter. I think it had to do with the traffic matter, some man who might have been charged or pulled over, something like that. And he was not pleased, so he wanted to see her. Now, the protocol in the force, as I know it, perhaps still is, that you can't just reach out to a rank like that and you want to see them. It is a protocol. You will advise the commander. In this case, I know what was the problem because the commander is senior to him. So he decided he can't reach to the commander. He can't instruct the commander. So what he's going to do, he's going to reach directly to the rank. And the rank did not go, and I believe that was correct, did not go because he has no authority to summon a rank directly. He did not go. Transfer, that's the main weapon, transfer. But the laugh in this is the person who had 1 week more in the force before she proceeded on pre-retirement leave. 1 week before she proceeded on pre-retirement leave, and she is transferred from breakdown to some area at headquarters. And if my information is correct, she did what any good police would do. You jam. For those of you who know, if you're not familiar with the term jam, when police tell you the jam or the jamming, it means that they are going to report sick. And that is exactly what she did. She reported sick, got the 1 week, I think, sick leave, and then proceeded to her retirement. I think she's now fully out. Again, another act of vindictiveness. Imagine that, a person with 1 week more in the job. You are going to transfer them. For what reason? For no proper reason. All because they follow the protocol and did not respond to your direction to come see them when you wanted to come and see them. And I think he was advised too that it doesn't work that way. You have to go through, send a message to the commander that you would like to see this person. But he doesn't want to do that. He is an all-powerful man in the police force. And of course, he occupies a very powerful position, I can tell you. Operations and administration, in this case, those are very powerful positions in the force. Then, as I said before, and I repeat again, there are so many things to say about this guy. Let me tell you about some acts of incompetence. I told you about vindictiveness. Let me tell you about some act of incompetence. This is a man, and again, I say to you, you're going to find it, so that you find it strange, you'll believe I'm not telling you the truth. It is the truth. The records are there. Last year, after he was taken to headquarters shortly after the government came into power. So sometime last year, August, he would have been, remember the president was sworn in on the 2nd of August, and shortly thereafter, he, Ikin, and those persons, Karim Bash, Blanham, they were put into those positions, and it's the government put them there. Let me understand this. This is not a decision taken by the force administration. This is a decision taken by the government following recommendations from Ikin. So he is put there. Now, shortly after, listen to me carefully. Shortly after, they were instructed to recruit several persons directly to the Presidential Guard. Several persons. Among the persons to be recruited is a man who was at the time, he was 53 years old. 53 years old. Police regulation and the relevant law, I don't think you recruit after 35. And when you get to the 30, 35, you have to have some special skills. Other than that, you go into the special constabulary. Well, this is a man who is recruited into the regular police force in August of 2020. And in September of 2020, he's promoted to the rank of sergeant. So he's recruited in August, less than a month after, he's promoted to the rank of sergeant. And as I indicated in the previous program, they have what they call appropriate qualifying examinations. So in order for you to be promoted from a constable to a corporal, you have to pass the appropriate qualifying examination. Well, it's not appropriate to qualifying exam from corporal to sergeant, but he's promoted to sergeant less than a month after he's recruited in the force. And here the carry-on part. Here the carry-on part. This man receives a letter from the commissioner in 2021. I got the letter, so I have the thing somewhere. Let me see if I could find it. He receives a letter in 2021, that's this year, and it says, let me read. Let me read what it says. You have given, and this is a letter for him to retire in 2022. So he receives a letter. He joins in 2020 August, promoted to sergeant in 2020 September, receives a letter in 2021, and here it says, you still left Acting Commission 2021 informing him that approval has been given for him to retire from the Guyana Police Force with effect from 1st of May 2022 after attaining the retirement age of 55 years old on 55 years on the 16th of April 2022. And here what the letter goes on. This is the part that I find so amusing. You have given the force 1 year, 8 months of yeoman service. Such an achievement and the prospect of retirement without rancor ought to be the fulfillment and epitome of what I am sure has been a rewarding career, a rewarding 18 months career. This thing needs, if you say anything, need more people. This thing needs more people. A man, and who does the recruiting in the force? Admin. This is Brutus area to recruit into the force. So you recruit a man who is 53 years old into the regular force. No doubt they were instructed to do so. I have no doubt they were instructed to do so. Then again, they would have been instructed, well, not them, because this is the commissioner has to promote, instructed to promote him. Well, it wasn't he alone, I should admit. There were others, but several others who joined around the same time with him are to be promoted to sergeant. 11 of them, I think it was, 1 month after they joined. And then the man gets a letter to retire in 2022 after giving 1 year and 8 months of yeoman service. I mean, this thing is so jokey. I mean, it's difficult for you to comprehend, but these things are true. So again, you talk about incompetence. Remember we talking about corruption and incompetence. Now, there is another matter where you talk about the chief, with our self-serving. You will recall on the 28th of June, when the Chief Justice, now even before the 28th of June, because on the 18th of June of this year, the decision was to be handed down, but the Chief Justice sought some clarity. And that is when she found out, or she did reveal, that Brutus, who was the man at admin, if you remember, I had mentioned before, and let me repeat for emphasis, that once the promotion shortlist was leaked on the 23rd of December 2020, the president and I spoke on the night. He was very upset that his people, Brutus, Karimbash, and others weren't shortlisted. On the following day, Christmas Eve Day, Minister of Home Affairs, Ben, instructed or communicated with the Commissioner of Police, acting, to have several officers, including some who were shortlisted for promotion, to be charged criminally for varying offenses. The offenses were listed. Brutus was the man behind that. He wrote the letters to those persons. And when the Chief Justice questioned his lawyer on the 18th of June in respect to that, she found it strange. She said, Mr. Satram, do you not find it strange that your client, Mr. Brutus, is writing to his rivals? That's what she said. That is, I'm quoting her. Is writing to his rivals to inform them that they are being investigated. At which stage the lawyer's response, he was squirming, and he eventually responded to say that, well, he is the man in charge of admin, and this is his responsibility to write, but he's not doing the investigation. And then she said to him, but isn't that strange? Should he not have asked, should he not have gotten the head of SOCU? If he said SOCU is doing an investigation, if he says that the CID is doing an investigation, should they not have been the ones to write to him? How can you be writing to your rivals to tell them that they are being investigated? So again, that is, and she made those points. And then on the 28th, in handing down the decision, when she threw out the applications made by him, she said that she found him to be self-serving. And I'm sure she was referring to the same actions he took to write to his rivals. In other words, if he can't get promoted, they cannot be promoted as well, to write to them. But more than that, and it's in terms of self-serving and unprofessionalism, he then, as the admin man, sits on the senior promotion board, or sat on the senior promotion board, to consider persons to be promoted from inspector to assistant commissioner. And even though he knew that he had matters, disciplinary, and I say matters, because it's not one matter, one disciplinary matter, but the other matters pending against him, he recommended himself to be promoted to assistant commissioner. So he's sitting there, and they were advised against that. He's sitting there and recommending himself to be promoted, even though he knew that he had disciplinary and other matters pending, and therefore he was not eligible. And in the same document, he writes to identify at least 12 to 13 persons who had disciplinary matters pending, to say that they should not be promoted because of this pending disciplinary matters. Now, how more unprofessional can one get? It is so self-serving, it is so unprofessional. This is a man who knows that he had disciplinary matters pending. He says that in a letter from his lawyer to the Police Service Commission. He argues that in his case, and they were arguing, his lawyer argues, oh, well, the matter against Brutus is a trivial matter. And I remember in one of the meetings with the Attorney General was abroad, and we had a Zoom meeting when they were trying to resolve the issue. I told the lawyer, I told the Attorney General that in all my years and all of my reading and my training, I don't know that they have serious, the law did not specify serious and less serious disciplinary matters. A disciplinary matter is a disciplinary matter. They're all under Section 4 of the Police Discipline Act. And once you have a disciplinary matter, the varying punishment can be meted out, but it's a disciplinary matter pending. And then for you to argue that, well, this is a trivial matter, who determines whether the matter is trivial or not when you have not subjected yourself to an inquiry? I would have thought that the inquiry would have determined whether the matter is trivial or not, and award punishment accordingly. But no, this man expects to be treated. He has to have special dispensation. So he sits there, recommends himself for promotion, and use the same argument not to recommend others for promotion. Now, then, yet again, this matters that should have been investigated. I don't know what has become of those matters. It was mentioned before, I think I saw it somewhere on one of the social media platforms, where ranks in C Division, when he was there, complained that they worked extra duty. I know in the police, you have ranks, they might have a dance, they might have some function of football, and the organizers might request the presence of police. Well, they have to pay for that presence. That is known as extra duty. So when they pay the money into the system, the money is then paid to the ranks. The ranks wrote to the president at the time, David Granger, copied to the Police Service Commission, copied to the Auditor General at the time, to say that these organizers had paid sums of monies into the divisional finance for them to get their extra duty payment. And they were alleging that the commander misappropriated the funds. He never paid them. They even went so far they provided documents. I don't know how genuine the documents were, but they provided documents to say that some of the signatures that you see there and the names were fictitious. That is the allegation they made. Now, when that got to the Police Service Commission, we realized that is not an allegation of a disciplinary breach. That is an allegation of a criminal nature. So what we then did, we forwarded the document to the commissioner for an investigation to be done. I recall the presidential secretariat might have sent it to the Police Service Commission. Then we advised them that we have already sent it to the police commissioner for an investigation to be done. That is maybe 2 years or so. Nothing has come out of that. Well, I don't know, because there was no feedback to the commission. I don't know what has become of that matter. But as far as I am aware, up to the time when the commission life came to an end in August, nothing had been done to the matter. Then we have some other allegations. Again, this was ventilated. You see, these things come up, and the people, as they say, roll with the punches, and after a few mornings, people tend to forget about them. But I don't want people to forget about them. I want you to know who these people, who they are pushing to be promoted, are. So when they get the promotion, you will still know that is not something that is done through merit. It is done because of political favoritism. Allegation made, again, documents were provided that during the course of last year, 3 days, on the 8th, the 22nd, and the 24th of last year, 24th, you remember, of December, would be, this is the 8th of December, the 17th, the 22nd of December, and the 24th of December, Senior Superintendent Calvin Brutus approved advances, financial cash advances in the sum of $200,000 on each occasion for his driver and his secretary. In the case of his driver, for him to go and conduct investigation, I think it was Kato and Orindu. Those are interior locations for those who don't know. And then on the Christmas Eve day, on the 24th of December 2020, for his secretary, a female sergeant, I think she is, to go to Port Kaituma, another remote interior location, to conduct investigation. So the question is asked, what investigation is secretary and his driver are going to conduct? And when you look at the sum of money, 200,000 Guyana dollars, one asks the question, how come, even if they were going to go to do legitimate investigation, how come a sergeant, and I'm not sure what the rank of the driver is, getting the type of money? That in my memory and in my experience, that's those sums of money, even officers will find it difficult to get that sum of money. Because when you're going into interior location, which requires aircraft, the money will not be paid to you. You will have to go to the aircraft, the airline, and they will give you an invoice, and the police finance office will draw whatever amount it is directly by check to those persons, right? But I understand, and the allegation is that the scam is, once those large sums of monies are approved, then the people are claiming that all don't go to the ranks who sign for them. And if you know the system as well, that when you finish with if you get an advance, you have to produce receipts to clear the advance. I remember in my day, sometime you don't get receipt, and then you do a honor certificate to say that you certify on your honor that this amount of money was spent for which no receipt were obtained, and that was accepted based on the person's credibility and all of that. The people are alleging that if and when these advances are cleared, bogus, as we say, bogus receipts are submitted to clear the advance. And I'm saying it's an allegation. The allegation is out there. The allegation has been out there for some time now. Documents were produced. At least an investigation should be done for Brutus' own good. At least an investigation should be done, because to have that dangling over your head can never be a good thing. So he should be anxious for investigations to be done in both matters. He should be anxious to have investigations done to clear his name, because they are further alleging that it is not only since he became there as the admin that he has been doing that. Since he was in Borbies, they said he had this way of making out requisition for large cash advances, and then they clear it using bogus receipts. Those things should be investigated at the Auditor General Office, because don't forget about OPR, the Office of Professional Responsibility. They're not going to do anything. But this requires, because this is government funds we're talking about, this requires a thorough investigation. And I'm sure, based on the allegations that are made, the amount involved runs into millions of Guyana dollars, millions. And apparently that is going to be swept under the carpet. Anyhow, it is here highlighted, and I will continue to highlight this and other matters, and let the people investigate, or if they don't want to investigate, at least you, the members of the force, you, the members of the public, will know exactly what and who these people are. Then you had the allegation in terms of unprofessional behavior. This is a man who was stationed in Linden Region Division 10 some time ago. And the allegation is, well, there was a complaint that he had some interaction. I think it was with the mayor then. I think the man named Faber or something like that. And he detained the man, unlawfully detained the man. I think he had the man in the lockup. And then there was a big uproar. And then because of the uproar, the man was released. And he was removed from the division because of that. Because the people then said they did not want him there. So the administration removed him from that location. So those are some of the, and there are more for me to go into. But as I said this morning, I don't think there's so much to say about this person that I don't believe the 1 hour, and as it turned out, the 1 hour is not sufficient. So when we meet again next week, Wednesday, God's Spirit Life, I will continue to tell you more about him. And as I indicated at the beginning, this is not done to prevent him from being promoted. He should not be promoted. Let me say this off the top. Given what has been revealed, given the type of person he is, he should not be. He's too vindictive to be in the senior position, admin. I said earlier in some previous program that given the fact that the Chief Justice reformed him to be self-serving, in any properly organized society, that would have been sufficient for him to be removed from that important senior position as the position of Deputy Commissioner Administration. Because if you're self-serving, it says that you're looking out for your interests. Self-serving speaks about being dishonest and all of that, and he should not be there. But this is a system that we live in. Despite that, from one of the highest judicial officials, he is kept there, and he has continued with his self-serving. He's continued with his vindictive ways, and that cannot be good for the Guyana Police Force. It cannot be good for the morale of the ranks. It cannot, because they're afraid. Ranks have reached out to me and have communicated to me. They are afraid, because what happens? Willy-nilly, you find yourself transferred to some far-flung location. Now, the transfer is not a problem, but if you're a family man, you're settled on the coast, or you're settled in any area, your children going to school in the particular area, you have a family to take care of, to go and look after. To be told out of the blues that you have to go to Etherimbang, you're transferred to, it's a difficult thing. not only for you, but it can be traumatic to your family. So because of that, many people stay quiet and do not speak out about these things. Look at the illegal election of the police association. The people are so afraid that they never challenge it, but they will tell you they know that it is wrong, it is illegal, Brutus does not have the authority, but they are afraid to speak out, because if he finds out that they spoke out, then in some far location, he's going to send them. Look at the case with the promotion. The Police Service Commission promoted 132 ranks. And they're afraid to speak out. The government say, we're not recognizing, the Attorney General on behalf of the government, we're not recognizing the promotion made by the Police Service Commission, which is a constitutional body. We're not recognizing that. And they all pull their tails between their legs, and they're all afraid. They're all afraid. And I know what is going to happen is that at some stage, promotions are going to be made. There will be a new service commission at some stage. When I saw the names of the Police Service Commission and the report that those names were submitted by the Police Association, I saw the names of the Police Service Commission members, and the report is that those names were submitted to Parliament by the Police Association. Several questions sprung to mind. How the Police Service Commission come to know these people? What type of vetting process they would have gone through? I am saying that even though the Police Service Commission would have submitted the names, it is Paul Slow's belief that those names were given to them to be submitted. Let them disprove that. Let them disprove that. And let me tell you, I said, when I talk, I know what I'm talking about, I know what I am talking about. They would have been given those names. These are the names we want. And once those names are submitted according to the Constitution, the president will identify one to be the chairman. That person, I'm sure, is already identified. It just required now certain process, and the process that is required is that there should be consultation with the opposition leader. But as you know, and that's a constitutional requirement, as you know, in the case of the suspension of the Police Service Commission, the Constitution required that the tribunal should be set up. No tribunal was set up, and there was this purported suspension of the Police Service Commission. So despite the fact that the Constitution would say that there should be consultation, I would not be surprised if the appointments are made without any consultation. And if that is done, let's see what will then happen. So once again, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me on this second episode. As I indicated when I started, we have the holiday season is still here. My understanding as a countryman is that the Christmas season ends on 12th night. So I urge you to continue to be very careful, continue to be very watchful. I know you have lots of rains falling in Guyana. Be safe. COVID is still there, with this new variant. The medical people say that the new variant is even more transmissible than the previous variants, including the Delta variant that was so devastating. So I will urge you all to continue to be safe, continue to observe the COVID protocols. And since this is the last program for the year, I want to take this opportunity to wish you and your families all the best for the new year. For whatever you wish yourself, that it will come true. I'm sure most of us will wish ourselves health, strength, long life, and prosperity. And I wish you that. And again, continue to be safe. God spare your life. Next Wednesday, we should be on again for our third episode. I thank you much.